Hello, my loves, and welcome to this brief overview of essays, a video tutorial about what essays are, what goes into them, and we're even going to look at one. But before we get started, I want to go over our upcoming schedule. So today is Wednesday, June 3rd. You're going to be doing this video tutorial. Nice job. You're going to do an essay Google form with some questions, and then you're going to complete the L part of a KWHL chart and work on makeup work. I'll explain that at the end. Tomorrow, Thursday, June 4th, Miss Cousins assignments. Friday, June 5th, just like all our Fridays have been, it's a catch-up day with no new work to catch up on all missing assignments because all work is due by noon on Monday, June 15th. You got it? All your makeup work is due by noon on Monday, June 15th. On Monday, June 8th, I'll have a writing class survey and a thank you letter for you to write, and you can work on makeup work. On Tuesday, June 9th, Miss Cousins has a couple of assignments for you. On Wednesday, June 10th, Thursday, June 11th, and Friday, June 12th, no new assignments. It'll all be catch-up time because all your work is again due by Monday, June 15th at noon. If you turn something in at 12:10 p.m., it's a no-go. You have to turn it in by noon on Monday, June 15th. So if I was you, I'd get started right away. I'd be working really hard to make sure I was all caught up and getting good grades on my assignments so that you don't have to pile in 45 assignments on that very last day, okay? All makeup work is due by noon on Monday, June 15th. Now we can get started. So what are we going to learn about? Well, essays, what they are, and how we write them. And why does it matter? Well, because you're going to be writing paragraphs and essays for the rest of your academic career. So our learning goal is I can understand and identify the parts of an essay. Before we get started into an essay, which is a collection of paragraphs, I wanted to give you some reminders about paragraphs. We don't start a new thought or put new details in your concluding sentence. You remember your concluding sentence concludes or ends and summarizes your paragraph. You don't want to put new information in there because it leaves your reader hanging. You also want to make sure that your topic and closing sentences are differently worded. You do not want them to say the same thing. It makes it boring for your reader. We don't want that. Which leads me into the next point. You want to have varied sentences. Don't make them all the same or similar wording. It's boring. You can do better than that. You're going to use proper capitalization. Only proper nouns get capital letters to start. Remember, you're doing academic writing. It still has to be formal. You're going to put one space between sentences. Do not start sentences with those, this, because, or and. Use spell check and grammar check. And we never use I, me, you, you're going to tell you here's some reasons, those are some reasons, that is why. It takes away from the power of your writing. It makes it not as strong. It takes away. It makes you look like you're not as good a writer as you actually are. So just get them right on out. And here's an awesome paragraph that a 7th grader was so kind to write for me as an example for us. The best season is spring. There is nothing more beautiful than seeing leaves change from green to yellow to orange. Spring comes in between two extreme weather seasons, harsh winter and searing summer. Its timing in the year is why this gorgeous season brings the ideal temperatures to pursue a cool outdoor adventure. People get to enjoy more hours of daylight, and the sunlight provides them with vitamin D. With its wonderful weather and more, spring is the top season out of the others. Oh, thank you, 7th grader. So wonderful. I love these descriptive supportive details. I can just picture it. There's a nice variety. Her topic sentence is different than her concluding sentence. It's still formal and avoids all those pitfalls. Well done. Okay, now we're going to take some notes on essays. So you're going to take it by hand on paper. You'll pause the video when I say to pause it. We're going to write notes down by hand into your writer's notebook, which I gave you right before school closed in-person learning. But if you don't have it, just grab a piece of paper. And why? Because we know that handwriting notes helps us better glue the information into our brains. Plus, you're going to be able to use them for 2 assignments at the end of this. So, title your page, Essays. So pause it, get some paper, get your notebook, title it, Essays, because we're going to take some notes. We're going to set up a T-chart or 2-column notes. I know it says 3-column at the top. That's because I decided to take out the examples for you. My bad. So we're going to set up 2-column notes, vocabulary and definition. And you can see that I left a lot more room for definition. So pause the video, set up your 2-column notes there. Our first vocabulary word is essay. An essay is a piece of writing that expresses information on one subject, usually at least 5 paragraphs. So that's basically what an essay is. It's 5 paragraphs at least. Sometimes there'll be more, especially as you get older, that expresses information on one subject. Pause the video, copy it down. Pause it, copy it down. An introduction paragraph comes at the beginning of the essay to introduce the reader to the topic of the essay by hooking them and giving background information and including a thesis. I'm sorry, that is a typo there. And instead of stopping it, I'm just going to fix it. So introduce the reader to the topic of the essay by hooking them, which means that they just want to get your attention. They want to hook you into reading what you're reading. And think of an introduction as like when you first meet somebody, right? You introduce yourself to them. That's what an introduction is. It lets the reader know what the essay is going to be about. It's got background information and a thesis. So pause the video, copy that down. Paused. Did you pause it? Copied? Good. Now, a thesis statement. A thesis statement is a sentence which states the main idea of an essay that the writer will prove in an essay or speech, usually the last sentence of your introduction paragraph. Your thesis is like if you were to summarize your whole 5 paragraph essay in one sentence, that's your thesis. That's what the whole essay is about. Pause it, copy it down. Now we've got our body paragraphs. At least 3 paragraphs organized by main idea, each with 5 to 8 sentences of detailed information to support or prove your thesis. Think of your body paragraphs as almost like those supporting detailed sentences in a paragraph. They are the ones that give the details and information. So we've got at least 3 paragraphs, each with at least 5 to 8 sentences to support a main idea, to prove your thesis. Pause it, copy it down. Now we've got our conclusion paragraph, which summarizes the essay to close at the end. It restates your main ideas and thesis in ways that are different than your introduction. It comes at the end. It's just like your concluding sentence, although it's a little bit different because it's, you're going to have at least 5 sentences, but it's also going to be different than your introduction because otherwise it would be boring. Pause the video, copy it down. So if we look at this introduction, what would be the best thesis statement for the following introduction? It's an age-old debate, cat or dog, which makes the better pet? So that would be the hook. That's where they're trying to get you into the introduction. According to the American Humane Association, there are more cats, 64.1 million, than dogs, 63.8 million in the United States. But because people often own more than one cat, dog households outnumber cat households. Because dogs are loyal, show more affection, and are easier to teach, they make better pets than cats. There are many reasons why dogs are better. So if we think about the thesis statement is what the whole essay is going to prove. Now, we don't have that essay in front of us, but the thesis here would be, because dogs are loyal, show more affection, and are easier to teach, they make better pets than cats. Sorry, Miss Cousins. But so you think about it, because they're loyal, so that would be their first main idea paragraph, their first body paragraph. Show more affection, that would be their second body paragraph, and are easier to teach would be their third body paragraph, which would all prove that they're better pets than cats. There you go. That's a thesis. So you don't have to read all this, and I'm certainly not going to read all this, but this is an essay I wrote to show you the outline. So we've got the first paragraph is the introduction, second is the first body paragraph, third paragraph is the second body paragraph, and the fourth paragraph is the third body paragraph. If that makes sense. And then the last one is, of course, the concluding one. I color-coded it so you could maybe see a little bit better. So if you look at all the orange there, that's one main idea. The green is another main idea, and the purple is a third main idea. Those are each their own paragraphs. And then in the red is my thesis statement. So my thesis statement was, as the result of the deadly COVID-19 virus, students completed distance learning, families stayed home, and people all over the world could not carry out their daily lives due to the closures. So that's my thesis, because I'm writing all about how the world changed during COVID. So the orange supports that because the school is closed. The green paragraph supports it because people stayed at home. And the purple paragraph talked about how many places like restaurants and parks closed. You'll see in the introduction, which is the first paragraph, and the conclusion, which is this last paragraph, I have a sentence describing each of those main ideas, and then the red one is my thesis that states the whole thing together. And the paragraph, my first and last, are very similar, but they're totally different. Let's take a little bit closer look. So this is an introduction. Imagine a world where everyone wears masks in the supermarket and school happens at home. That became reality in spring of March 2020 when COVID-19 affected the entire world. One aspect of life that changed was the school occurring at home. Another thing that changed was everyone stayed in their homes to be safe. Lastly, people avoided travel and lots of places like parks closed. And as a result of the deadly COVID-19 virus, students completed distance learning, families stayed at home, and people all over the world could not carry out their daily lives due to closures. So again, if we color code it here, my red right there is the thesis. It comes at the end and it summarizes what my whole essay is going to be about. The orange highlighting is my first main idea, green is my second main idea, and purple is my last main idea. That's my introduction. And then my conclusion is slightly different, but you'll see with the color coding there that I still have information, just a brief overview for both of them, right? Do you see how my introduction paragraph is not very long? You don't want to go into too much detail about stuff because those things will be covered in your body paragraphs. It's just giving a little snippet. Same thing with the conclusion. I'm not introducing new ideas here. It's just summarizing what I already wrote about, but in different ways. So you'll see that the thesis is very similar to the way I wrote it in the first paragraph, but it's still going to be different. Now it's time to put your skills to the test. First, watch this video tutorial. Self-high five because you just did it. Nicely done. Then you're going to take the Google Forms quiz in Classroom. I want you to take your time and use your notes and knowledge gained from watching this very video. Trust me, those notes will help. Hint, 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 hint. Third, if you want to do corrections after this to improve your learning and scores, you go. You certainly may. You don't have to. It's up to you. But if you do, make sure that you follow all the directions and my example. Fourth, you're going to complete the L of the KWHL chart about paragraphs and essay learning. Excuse me. So remember, way back on May 1st, you completed the K, H, and W. What do you already know about paragraphs and essays? What do you want to learn? And how should we learn it? So now you're going to complete the L. You're going to list 5 things that you learned this spring about paragraphs and essays. You're not going to be able to use the ones I listed in the document, so just make sure to read those directions. Fifth, check portal for NHIs because as we talked about, the last day to submit work is a Monday, June 15th at noon. Awesome. Email me if you have any questions. Thank you so much for listening to my video and all your wonderful work. I'm so very proud of you. Raleigh, who happens to be at Lowe's in that photo, riding on a cart, says he loves you too. Bye.